Look, a lot of people are leaving the city of Chicago and leaving Illinois, but there are a lot of people that leave the city of Chicago that aren't ready to leave the state of Illinois yet. And typically, a lot of those people that are relocating out of the city of Chicago are relocating to places here in the Chicago suburbs, specifically Naperville, Illinois. Trying to get a change from those high HOA fees, walking around all the time, and getting out that hustle and bustle of the city. So in today's video, I'm going to go over why are some of the reasons that I personally get when people reach out that leave the city of Chicago for here in Naperville, Illinois, and we're getting after it right now. Check it out. Welcome back and welcome to the channel. My name is Brandon, and if you enjoy videos just like this about what it's like living, playing, and everything else in between here in the Chicagoland area, hit the subscribe, drop a like, and if you're considering making a move here in Naperville, Illinois, or the surrounding area, whether it be next week or next year, my team and I would be absolutely honored to help you guys out. Call, text, shoot me an email, information down below in the description. But yes, it's true. There's a lot of people that are relocating out of the city of Chicago and relocating here to Naperville and the surrounding suburbs. One of the main reasons that I get from a lot of my colleagues and friends and family friends that relocate out of the city of Chicago here to the suburbs is typically because they're ready to get out of their $500,000, $600,000 condo and get much more space here in the Naperville area. So to put in perspective, here in Naperville, Illinois, if you're looking to purchase a house for around $500,000 to $600,000, you could pretty much expect around 2,200 to 2,400 square feet and get about a quarter of an acre yard. And don't forget, you probably get a garage, whether a single car or a two-car garage. And I know in many places in the city of Chicago, especially condo buildings, you typically have to buy the parking spot. But don't quote me on that. If there's someone that sells real estate in the city of Chicago, let me know. John the fact check on me for sure. But that's what I've noticed a lot of people, especially some of my friends, like college friends that are, getting married and relocating here to the suburbs. They're typically telling me that, the condo, the rents are just too expensive out of the city of Chicago, and they're willing to sacrifice that to come here to Naperville because, it's still not as far from commuting from Naperville to the city of Chicago. And when we go to that, I'm just going to segue right into is that a lot of people also are moving here to Naperville, Illinois because they're starting families. And a lot of times people are just looking for, the public schools here in the Chicago suburbs, because if you look at niche.com, they rank a lot of the Western Chicago suburbs public schools pretty high. I know Naperville belongs to District 203 and District 204. So with District 203, you're looking at Naperville Central as well as Naperville North. And District 204, you're looking at Neuqua Valley, Mateo Valley, Wabansie Valley, and a whole bunch of different elementary and middle schools as well. So you kind of have your pick and choices. You go on niche.com and look at all these different schools. You're typically seeing a lot of the ratings at an A-, A, or even an A+. And that's a big draw to people that are relocating here from the city of Chicago here to Naperville, Illinois, especially if schools is on top of their priority list for their kids. Niche.com also ranks Naperville, Illinois as the number one place for public schools as well here in America. I think a lot of big things too is that I usually get a lot of calls with people relocating for the schools as well from the city of Chicago here to Naperville. And I think a big thing too to that as well is I have a lot of clients that will call the school specifically as well as join the Facebook groups and try to figure out which school, whether it's elementary or middle school, is best for their child, as well as the public high schools as well, because there's a lot of choices. And, depending on where you live, if you really dial in on which specific school that you're looking for your kids, is that I could truly help you find the boundaries and the specific schools that feed into each of those elementary, middle, and high schools as well. Surprisingly as well, I have a lot of clients that still work in the city of Chicago. And ever since this whole pandemic going on, there's a lot more working from home action, like 4 to 5 times a week. But now, we're kind of at the backside of it, hopefully, and a lot more people are going into the office. So in my opinion, I think Naperville is a great middle ground, depending on which portion of Naperville that you're living, especially if you're only commuting and going into the office in downtown Chicago only 2 to 3 times a week and working from home for the rest of those days. We have 2 train stations here in Naperville, Illinois. We got one in downtown Naperville just south of Ogden and just one off 59. And I'll probably drop links down below in the description that shows you guys those different train rides. But you're also about a 45-minute, drive to the city of Chicago. Sometimes an hour, depends on rush hour if you're living in North Naperville, South Naperville as well. But that's definitely an option. And I've realized that a lot of my clients, the people that reach out, that's a big thing for them is that, they're looking at how close to a train line if I don't want to drive every day to the city of Chicago, or kind of vice versa. If they like driving more, they're probably going to the North Naperville section. And, there's a lot of different things that feed into it for sure, especially, with work, schools, and everything like that. With a lot of people considering relocating here to Naperville, Illinois from the state of Chicago, I think one big question that I personally get is that, Brandon, is there any fun things to do? Because here in the state of Chicago, I can pretty much go out every single night for a nice dinner, hanging out with friends, or, taking the kids out to do all these fun activities. But here, I've lived in the suburbs my whole life. I go to the state of Chicago as well. But, at the end of the day, I'm a suburbs boy at heart, and I think I came out pretty okay. But downtown Naperville has a lot of great things to offer, from fine dining to, grabbing drinks with coworkers and friends, and taking kids out and having family activities as well. And, along South Naperville, North Naperville, and just everywhere in between, there's a lot of surrounding Chicago suburbs that offer many great things to do with the family and friends. And, in my opinion, downtown Chicago is still not that far of a drive away. So it's super easy to get there, do a day trip, or even spend the time there the whole weekend as well. Like I said, you're probably around 45 minutes to an hour drive out there, and you can always take the train if you wanted to. And here's a plug that if you were looking to, meet some friends and everything like that, like I said, join the Facebook groups, go on the Eventbrite. There's a lot of activities happening, and, especially on the Instagram pages as well. You got the downtown Naperville and everything like that, but they offer a lot of cool events. And in my opinion, I feel like it's been pretty easy for me and my family, especially my parents, when my siblings and I were growing up. They've got a lot of friends in the neighborhood when we were living in Glen Ellen, and we've always been going to Naperville a lot because I've had a lot of friends that, grew up in those Naperville 203 and 204 districts as well. I mean, truly as well, there's a lot of different things that go on to, making this move and considering if relocating from the city of Chicago to Naperville is the right move for you. But like I said, I get a lot of calls that reach out that, if people from the city of Chicago are relocating here to Naperville, Illinois, or the surrounding suburbs. And if you had any specific questions on that, shoot me a call, text, or email. I'll put you in the right direction and answer your questions as well. And if you like this content, hit the subscribe, drop a like, do a comment as well, because it'll tell YouTube I do a good job of making this video kind of thing. If you're considering making a move, whether it be next week or in the next year, here in Naperville or the surrounding area, my team might be absolutely honored to help you out. Call, text, shoot me an email, information down below in the description. Watch all these videos up here, and I will see you guys on the next video.